Casting with Ceri Jones.
Hi guys, and welcome to this week's podcast. I've just returned from my trip to Ireland and had a wonderful time. Meeting friends which I haven't seen for, probably 3 years now because of the restrictions and lockdown. And I've met some new friends, a few of my Patreons, Danny Cullen, Shane Boggs and Andy Barton. It was great catching up with you. Special thanks to Andy for helping me out because I did actually have a bit of trouble with my engine. He was kind enough to let me moor my boat there for a couple of days while I get it sorted. The trip itself was awesome. I had lots of browns, and I mean lots. From 2 to 6 pound on dries, a pattern actually which was given to me by Jimmy Turrell, which is his own pattern of a detached body mayfly. And honest to God, if you ever think of going to Ireland, you need some of these flies. Deadly. Get in touch with him and order some. A big thanks as well goes to Basil Shields, who kindly let me moor my boat there at his amazing place he's got at Ardnasilla Lodge. Top guy, a top angler too. I was hoping to do a podcast with Basil actually. When I was there, the fishing was so good. We were just on the lake all the time, and with his guiding, and he was taking people out every day. But I hope to be back maybe the end of next month now, and that will be a podcast not to be missed. The knowledge of this guy is something else. So anyway, I'm back home. I came back home a couple of days ago. So on to this week's podcast. Now this week's guest is local to me and has the River Usk running through his veins and has a real passion for wild trout. He is secretary of Gwent Angling Society and plays a big part in arranging the fly fishing open day at Gilwan, which if anyone is interested in going is today, Saturday the 11th of June. It runs to 4:30. So if you listen to this, get over there because it's well worth going to, as there are tying demonstrations for some of the country's top tyers, cast intuition, plus fishing methods at the bankside of the River Usk. Not to forget, a hog roast. He has a passion for fishing and tying microflies, notably dries up to size 24, and has had great success. And even though he is no longer tying commercially, he still enjoys taking part in angling shows up and down the country. And he tells us of how it all started on the rivers and the upper reaches of the Taff when he was a small boy. Welcome to my chat with Gareth Lewis. Well, it's nice of you to bring me here, Gareth, to this spot on the Usk. It's probably, you were saying, is one of your favourite spots, is it?
It is indeed, yeah. So this is just outside Abergavenny. It's the Gwent Angling's Team Mawr beat. I suppose the flagship beat of the club, really.
Is it?
Nice and accessible, and really good trout. You can spend your days fishing various methods, but where we are sat now, I'll quite happily sit there, maybe after work or through a day, and I'll be looking over there, the willows, and the fish will rise there.
With one of your cigars?
Possibly with a cigar, yeah, sometimes a beer.
Or do you normally wait until you have a fish before you have a cigar?
I like to, yeah, because I kind of feel like I'm cheating myself if it's a bit of a trophy, So,
yeah.
But yeah, if you're out, and you've come up you're up at 6, and the fishing's not really going to kick off this time of year. It's July now, right? So June, sorry. And it's not really going to kick off until that last hour and a half, 2 hours max before dark. So yeah, sit, wait. We can see there's a pair of dippers there.
Yeah.
And you'll often see buzzards and stuff, and it's the other stuff you can see while you're waiting for the trout to come.
The season for you?
Really good. Very cold at the start of the season. Chatting to a friend the other day, Alex, and he was upstream of me, I was downstream, and we were both just stood in those pools that we know well, that are going to produce those March browns then and early season flies. And we were just stood there for 40 minutes in the water, up to our thighs. We knew they were going to come on, but it just took that 40 minutes, and we were chattering teeth by the end of it. We caught a couple of fish, got out. That was back in March, yeah. Late in March, obviously, but we had LDOs coming off early season anyway before the March browns. So the Usk does fish well early season, to be fair. But then within 3, 4, 5 weeks, it just flipped to summer conditions, really. We haven't had rain now since February, really, proper rain. So she is on her bones a bit, but she's still producing quite well.
Bit of wind tonight, isn't it? You prefer a bit less than this, there?
I would prefer a lot less of this, yeah. There's a nice ripple on the water, and that's not normally too conducive to the hatches that I was hoping for, but hey, we'll see.
It's strange sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes you want the ripple because it hides your leader and it slightly helps you when catching, especially fishing flies. But there's times then when you do get the wind, the flies don't hatch.
No, that's it. Whether they are a bit too, I don't know, I wouldn't say worried, because it's not really an invertebrate feeling, is it? But maybe it's not too conducive to what they need to do to hatch off, because they just want to find the trees, right? So maybe they, through evolution or whatever, they know that it's not going to be too good, they're going to be blown away.
There's another reason you're here tonight now, is setting up for this Gwent Angling, what is it, the show tomorrow?
That's right, yeah. So our annual Gwent Angling Society open day. Last one was in 2019. Unfortunately, COVID ruined a couple of years of it. But we've done it a few years now. 2017, 18 and 19, and they've gone from strength to strength. So we open it up, members, non-members, kids especially. We try and want to get more kids involved with fishing. So we'll have workshops where we are now, 5, 6 workshops on the river, and it's not, we're in very close sort of relationship with the Game Angling Instructors Association. A lot of instructors in the club, probably the most in Wales. But they're not technical based. They're all about fishing techniques, really. Dry fly, nymphing, wet fly,
it's not
spiders.
just a casting clinic.
No, and that's what we kind of want to, show off, really. The fact that our ethos is all about committed to the environment, right? So it's about what else we do. We've had pollution incidents through the years and stuff, and it's how we work then with Welsh Government and the NRW to try and stop those from happening again. It's not as easy as that. There's a lot of challenges, to say the least. But our club, I'm thankful to be part of a group that really works to minimise those pollution incidents. So that's what it's all about, really, the open day. It's river-based stuff. Then in the field we'll have fly dressers, Mark Roberts, who you've had on the show, Paul Slaney, who we've had on the show, Tim Wood and Stuart Foxall again on the show. And then we'll have Deer Creek, we'll have Loop turning up. Hell of a hog roast, last one, so it's going to be good. And of course Charles Jardine's doing a demo, so it's going to be
good. It encourages people to come, not only, I suppose, to learn how to cast. It's incentive. There's a chance actually you're seeing a fish.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, when back in my instructor days, this is where I learnt. And Mark was my mentor, and Alan Rees, another podcast attendee as well. The two of them were my main mentors, really. And when we were here doing the casting lessons for members and non-members as well, but mainly members turned up, we'd be on here and we'd use wool. And they'd be, I'm getting fish taking my wool. Can I put a fly on? No, we can't put a fly on, because again it just changes and fishing then rather than casting. But still, it was quite funny to see.
So when did you start with the club then?
It was just, I think it was around the time when I was getting into Gaia and the instructor thing. So that was about 15 years ago, maybe. Justin was doing his, so Justin Connolly, again, you've had him on the show as well. He was doing his single-handed syllabus at the time. And that's when I got friends with him. And after that, the club just kind of clicked, the dual ethos and what they do and how they go about it. And I joined the committee pretty much within that first year. So I've...
It's a very active club, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Obviously COVID hit us a bit. But Mark, again, he's been the stalwart, really, of, the driving force, I suppose. All the articles, the videos. We was, I suppose, one of the clubs doing it. That's it, yeah. And it was great. We used to have fly tying nights in Killion. They were a good laugh. Then we did, open days again, just for fly tying as well. Again, just bringing the community together, really, just to enjoy.
And you stepped into his boots now, then, because he's secretary he was, wasn't he?
Right, let me be clear here. I may have taken on the role, but I can't fill those boots in any way. I take a bullet from him. He's a top bloke. And likewise, you kind of want to give something back, right? And the club is very close to my heart. So, like I say, you've got the people like Mark Roberts, Alan Rees, who've given a lot to fishing in general and the club. And it's good to give something back. So it's like a second job now. I
So
finish
what time
work
does
and
it
I'm
start
straight on.
tomorrow then?
So tomorrow's 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. And we'll be going right through till about 4:30. I'll have a nice raffle at the end of the day and stuff, and then I'm going to have a beer and get back to normal life after that. I think I'll have my life back, yeah.
You've been at this for a couple of days then, have you?
Since the start of the year, since March, we've been planning it. We've had a
is it?
subcommittee, so there's been about 4 of us who've... so yeah, it's not just... Bloody hell, I haven't done much in comparison. I mean, the rest of the team, the event team that we now known as, all the marquee that you saw, planning, even down to the portaloos, right? All the little things. It just takes months of planning. And it's been a lot, selling tickets, promoting it, taking all the photos. It's just, yeah, it's been non-stop. So, but it's been good and it'll be worth it. I think we're in for a good day tomorrow.
And this is the first one since lockdown then?
First one since 2019 now, yeah. So hopefully we'll have a few people turning up on the day, I think. So I think we're going to have about 80 or so people there. So
Is there a fee?
It is, yeah. So obviously we want to give first dibs to members. So it's £35 for members and 40 for non-members. But of course, that includes professionally led demos and lessons, really, right? So if you could be brand new, you could have been doing it for decades. But what we tried to say is, right, show you proper structure and give you some background understanding and deep knowledge about what the guys are trying to show you, so whether that be dry fly or spiders or a certain technique, or like the double-handed mechanics, of good substance before style, So there's a lot of professional guys leading this as well and driving that. So yeah, £40 might seem a lot, but there's a lot of long, a lot of knowledge there going into that.
Yeah. It's not a lot these days. I don't know what we're around the golfers now.
Well, I got to say, Kev, I mean, even the hog roast lunch, it'll be worth that 40 quid if I'm honest. Yeah, they're in for a treat tomorrow.
I'd be tempted to come along tomorrow.
No, do.
I can smell it now.
All the location details, and if they want to buy tickets online in advance, they can, or they can pay on the day.
They're on your website anyway? Then?
All on the website,
yeah. So you live yourself now, you're in Cardiff, yeah?
I am, for my
You're not
sins,
from Cardiff, you're
No,
Merthyr,
God, no. I'm a Merthyr boy, born and bred. The accent hopefully gives it away, not, I don't sound Cardiff, hopefully. Well, yeah, it's not, right, I'm not putting anyone from Cardiff down, right? But no, I'm Merthyr boy, proud of it. I work in IT, and I always have done, even in and around the guiding and flight tying and stuff, for coming up, it's got to be over 20 years now.
You done the website, I guess, did you?
No. So a couple of other guys ran it originally, and then we moved to a company called Clubmate, and they just, I'm going to manage anything now. It's great, it's so easy. But yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a technical background so you can tweak things and do this and that. But well, the good thing is when I finish a technical day job, my kind of ethos now is just to keep things simple. And if I am going to manage a website, even easier. I can just, see, member requests and things like that and all those queries. So that's good. But no, 5:30 comes and generally no IT.
So where did you start to fish then? In the River of Merthyr, was it?
No, I started with Dad. He got me into fishing, and we fished little ponds and private lakes, things like that. Kevin Mabley over Newport Way was back in the when they had trout, because I don't think they got trout anymore.
No, that was good. I fished it then.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I went through the early days of, I still think of the blisters now. I was obviously, knowing a lot more about casting now, you just, done all the rods so on. And I came away with so many blisters and horrible things. But we fished those to the point, right, he'd be bandaging my hands up before we'd go. I think a couple of months in, I think we got rained off and it was terrible. We always used to get up, it's one of those romantic stories. Your old man would wake you up and say, come on boy, we'll go fishing today. And he'd make the flask with ideal, not even milk, that condensed milk. It was great. And I think we were rained off, and he said, you could tell I was gutted, so he showed me how to tie a fly. I think it was a buzzer or something. So no, it wasn't rivers that I'm sort of I focus on now. It was those little still waters. And then I slowly got into rivers, and then I had a break. We laughed earlier, didn't we, about beer, rock and roll, and girls come along. I was playing basketball at the time, so it was a bit of a weird mix. And I had a break for a few years, and then thought, do you know what, I need to get back in. And it was around, I think, 17, 18 that I first fished a river. And I was like, oh my God, this is life-changing, this running water, there's loads more going on. And I know there is with still, but for me, rivers just knocked me out to the
You get
park,
that
really.
with some people, don't you? But I do see the attraction though.
Well, I see the attraction of some of the fish you catch, so I can see that side,
Yeah, so that's when you started then?
That's when I started,
When you were a teenager then, back in the rivers or something?
Yeah, as I say, a couple of years break or whatever, and then back into it. And to be fair, I never really think about anything else. Everything kind of turned then into fishing, right? And back then there was no real YouTube or anything, so you had to buy the books and work out. And then you meet these people, right? And as I grew up, then it was, you know, the Marks and the Allens. And
Didn't you used to do some guiding yourself as well?
yeah, no, so when was that? So I did it for about 9 years. As I say, with Justin, we both did a single-handed. Justin went off and became a rock star with his double-handed and all the guiding work that he does now. I did about 9 years part-time, right, because I was working as well, obviously. And it got a bit too much. You know, you finish work and then you maybe meet a client for a casting lesson, and then you'd be coming home and tying flies till late tonight for either an order or next day's guiding. And after 9 years, it was like, nah, I need to put it aside. So I knocked it all on the head a couple of years back, 3 years now, and the fishing has been superb. It's been brilliant, loved it.
What I've noticed on social media when I see your posts and that, you sort of made a bit of a name for yourself for micro flies, haven't you? Small flies, like more than anybody else I've seen, really.
Yeah, it's a
Do
bit
you
of
tie anything bigger than a size 16?
No, I do, and that's the laugh, really. Yeah, it became like a challenge for 3 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, I think. That's all I fished was sub 20, and it was great, and it taught you a lot, right? You know, about tippet strengths and rods, and you know, not going for, you know, the Ferrari fast end stuff. And it was fun. But no, I fished 16s and 14s and 18s and all sorts.
Nice.
Yeah, it was strange because, I did focus on it. There was a chap, he's in Northern Ireland, Andy Baird. He was a micro fly tyer, still to this day. Loves his punk back in the day and stuff like that, which kind of resonated with my heavy metal background. And we got chatting and stuff. And, big time, yeah. Well, it was bands when I was younger and stuff, punk and then metal and stuff like that, yeah. No, it was good. It was weird because they'd fight. It was, I'd go to band practice or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'll be fishing today."
What did you used to play?
Guitar and lead vocals.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was in a band.
Yeah.
I was vocals.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stand heavy metal, and the valleys attracted. They're all the pubs play heavy metal. Right?
Good metal scene, yeah.
It was, and
Yeah.
not for me. Though.
Yeah.
It's a far cry, isn't it? Different to like sitting here now on the bank, the quiet, peace and quiet. Two extremes.
Yeah. I suppose sometimes you just want to chill out and sometimes you want to break something. And both are legal ways of doing that, right? So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I remember I used to go to often clubs in Cardiff. I'd see Public Image as well.
Yeah, right,
And see the Damned. There's quite a few. I was big into I had my hair green at one stage.
There we are.
Times changed, isn't it? I listen to Diddly Do now, some traditional Irish music.
Well, see, that's it. We all grow up, don't we? And change. That's it.
Yeah. Would you know, nowadays, I noticed the scene, you got into these small flies you were saying. Do you still fish them? Or is it just something you wanted to get out your system, you wanted to try them?
No, I do. Well, it's weird because, we've done loads of shows and, over the years and things, and they've been great, and you learn all these new techniques and you get to rub shoulders with some absolutely amazing fly dressers, like mind-blowing. 4 of them are here tomorrow, to be honest, and, they're great. But on the flip side, the less time I can spend behind a vice and, I can sit there and look at that, then that's where I've kind of come to now. And I was joking with a mate the other day. We kind of use these just 2 patterns, like a CDC and everything. There we go.
Right in the middle of the pool there,
that's
up top there.
Yeah, above there's a willow there, and there's always a couple there. Buggers to creep up on there.
Good fish, that one.
But like I say, you gotta, work is work, right? And I bust my brain sometimes. I'm 41 now this year, just gone, and I'm like, how much more have I got in me? Just staying at that, level where you can have to absorb all this tech stuff. And this is where I come to chill out, and the flies now kind of reflect that, I suppose. Keep it simple and they catch, that's it.
So what you set up, you got with you tonight then?
So there's the main box with, it's just like CDC and all the paradons that I like tying, but then I kind of go and just use the go-tos really. So these midge-emerger things, just CDC and a bit of thread and a bit of squirrel, and that's it. And then you got these Iobo, what are they?
What size are these then?
Well, no, they are 16s, the midge, and again 16s and 18s, so nothing mad.
These are smaller than I.
Well, 18s maybe.
Is it?
So 18s is about the smallest. With the paradons I fish now, if you're 8-fids and stuff, there's a couple in there that go down to 24 and 26s maybe there. But again, the main ones now are watch the wind, but these sorts of things, deer hair, snowshoe. Again, a couple of ingredients, and they catch. amazingly on
Yeah.
on any sort of river.
And tippet now to go. Were those say 18s and 16s?
Well, I've lost a lot of fish this year. Whether it's through trying to
You try to
bully
go
'em.
as close as you can get away with, isn't it?
Yeah, I do, but I think I'm bullying a lot more this year, and I don't know what's changed through winter really. I flipped now. I used to use 3.5 pound tippet, 6x, and I've just reverted now 5x. It doesn't, from what I've seen, it doesn't. And a mate of mine actually said, "Gah, you want to be up in your tippet," because I was losing fish. They were pinging off just because I had too much pressure on. And whether that lighter tippet just didn't like it and it would pop with a knot or something.
Would you do straight through or do you taper it?
No, I taper it. So I usually have a 12-foot tapered leader down to, down to 6 pound, 4x then.
Yeah.
And then I'll stick another 2-3 foot on of 5x, so
Yeah.
5 pound or 6x, 3.5 pound.
And dries you'll be fishing now?
I like to, yeah. We've all got our own favourites, and for me, dry fly it just does it for me. You know, I'm not putting any other method down. I never will. We all do it for other reasons, though we all do it for.
And what rods are you got?
And this is coming in the casket with me. This is the Sage Trout
Is it?
LL. Yeah, I ain't giving this to
Which is
anybody.
it?
The Sage Trout LL. So for me, as a dry fly fisherman, that's probably the best rod I've ever used. It's just superb. 9 foot for a 4-weight.
9 foot for a
And on the Usk, it's the Taff or Mono, all the
That's
rivers I
lovely,
fish.
lovely action on that.
Lovely.
isn't
Nice and relaxed.
Yeah.
Not too tippy.
it? No. It's not soft. It's not tippy either, is it? But
It's got a
you
bit of
can feel
power.
that crispness to it.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
That's it. So yeah.
And what line is that?
I've been using them for years, the Rio Golds. I also use those Barrio lines as well. They're superb. But between the two, they're both great again for this
Yeah.
for this stretch of river again. What's that? 40, 50 foot in max
Yeah.
widths, and I don't cast far. I try not to, because again,
Yeah.
it's just more line to manage.
And would you normally, when you came, say for instance, you drive here tonight now and you just wait, are there times you just sit and just wait and watch? Or would you just literally think, right, I'm going to start fishing? You would wait until you see fish, will it?
And again, it's personal preference, I suppose, right? Like, to me, if I can see a fish rising, then the challenge comes into play where do I need to be to create a drag-free drift? So there might be below it, might even be above it. How close can I get to it without spooking? What's it feeding on? And again, generally back to those couple of patterns, right? They don't really look to mimic a specific fly because they kind of do it all.
I noticed there's a lot of CDC in them, haven't they?
There is, yeah.
You do them quite full.
Yeah, well, these bigger ones then, like March Browns, I'll fish up the top of this beak where it's a bit more broken early season. It's where they'll be coming off, and they'll just get smashed. But then the finer sort of CDC stuff, then, I like to be able to see it. And even in dark, you can see the little silhouette of the feather as well. So it's, they have their places.
Yeah.
So
Do you do this you running fit to start the season? A lot of people love it, don't they?
it works, yeah. For me, I'll never turn my nose up at any method ever, because we all do it for our own reasons. And I used to focus on it in winter for grayling. I really pulled back the last few seasons. We were talking earlier, and I think I've appreciated the start of trout season, because trout, it's all about trout for me. I just love it. They're beautiful things.
You don't do the grayling?
I got out once last winter in November, I think, and that was it. I gotta be honest, the older I'm getting, it's cold. You stood up to your, almost above your waist. You're wading quite deep in cold water. It's more of a social thing, and you get to catch up with friends, and that's what it's about. I don't do a lot of it, put it that way. But when I do,
what about the sea trout or the bass? You do still not?
I can see the appeal. But then again, if somebody says, do you want to be out, at night, I'd probably be fishing before dark for trout, and then I'm happy, I've had my fill.
Yeah.
And I've never felt the pull, really. But one day, not say no, one day.
Yeah. What about salmon? Have you had salmon from the Usk?
I've hooked into them like we all have, if you're fishing nymphs back in the day and stuff. But no, honest to God, for me, the only thing I really dream about is a trout. I've lost sleep over trout, like we all have. You either lose a big fish or a tricky fish. But and hopefully that doesn't stop.
Being as you sort of like you fish this probably as much as anyone, you know areas where there's big fish. Say, for instance, you caught a fish there tonight, nice fish.
Yeah.
Would you want to catch them again then?
That's a good question.
Have you actually done that? Caught fish? I've caught this fish before.
Well, funny enough, it was a good few years ago. I think I was fishing the Taff, and there was a friend of mine, Nick Steedman. He asked me actually. He said, "Oh, you put a picture on social media, blah blah blah. Do you mind sending it to me? I want to compare." And he'd caught that same fish like a week before. Yeah, and I was like, "Bloody hell!" You know, the spot configuration on them was identical. There was no confusing that. That was the same trout. Yeah, they will be caught. I mean,
I done that once. I had a trout. It was £15 on the corrib. Put the pictures up on social media, and I didn't notice it. Somebody noticed it. It's the same fish that another mate of mine had caught
right.
6 weeks before, and it was £16 then.
And on a
I don't think from 1 minute, I was in the corrib. I don't think for 1 minute it lost a pound. And knowing the guy who caught it, he added a pound on it. So it caught him out in effect then, like, you know. No.
And that's a big expanse of water as well.
Yeah, it was the
Same-ish location?
Yeah, 200 yards, square yards, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But they are very, the territorial in the rivers, they're the same in the lake.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same in the lake,
Yeah.
you know. There's areas in the lake devoid of fish, you know. Or there's areas where they can't, for some reason, they're there, you know, more than any other thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so as regards tie, do you tie now then?
No.
You don't go to shows at all, no?
No, still do the shows, still love doing the shows.
Right.
So I don't tie commercially anymore. It got to a point where, and it was good. You get to meet some awesome clients and you have some chats about can you tie this and can you tie that. And it was great, you just get to have that conversation, and some of them I guided as well, and some of them become friends with. But, you get an order of 120 clink gammers, size 16, geez. And you see, yeah, cool, all right, somebody's going to enjoy those, but at the same time it breaks your heart. You got to get a couple of capes because there ain't 120 feathers on a single cape for the same size fly, is there? So especially if it's a cape, saddle might be different. So it got to the point where you're up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning just trying to churn out these orders, and it broke me. And so now I tie for, I do auctions still. There's a couple of friends in different clubs that, like-minded, like us. They're all bloody weird trout bums or whatever. I'm a trout head. And definitely the shows, yeah. So British Fly Fair is always a good laugh. You don't get to see some of those guys. You only see them once a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Irish Fly Fair is a good one. Fly Fest, when that was on, that was a good one. So, it's good to get out and you get to just
take
talk.
my hat off to people like Stuart Foxall
and
Paul Slaney,
that's it.
where they'll sit down and tie 40 of one pattern,
Yeah.
I get bored after 3 or 4, want to do something else, it's like, I just don't know how they do it. And they all look identical, don't they?
Well, again, that's a sign of a good fly tyer, isn't it? Consistency in what they tie. And those two, again, masters of what they do. Unbelievable. Yeah. And so knowledgeable as well. They've got
What vice do you use?
I use Regal. I can't remember what model, the basic model. It's just absolute bomb-proof. Yeah. Open and close, that's it. No spinning bits or there's a couple of turny bits. It's not true rotary, it does turn.
Yeah.
But I haven't oiled it, I haven't done anything to it. It just won't break. It's just absolutely amazing vice. Solid.
I need a new vice. I got somebody on the case actually. They might get me a Regal, but they're so expensive. The ones I look at, it's about 650 quid.
Yeah, I won't spend that. I think the Regals were a couple of £100, maybe 300 max. But again, if you tie a lot, and you're on it a lot, then that it becomes a nice experience then, rather than fighting with your gear. Yeah. We all like nice rods and reels and lines and stuff like that, but nobody really, or a lot of people don't see the tie-in side as, I need to invest in it. If you use nice materials, nice tools, like any trade, then it's just going to make it a more enjoyable experience.
You don't fish still waters now then at all?
No. A couple of years back I visited, me and the missus were up in North Wales. We go up a couple of times a year because we love it up there. I think if we could live up there we would.
Sure.
Yeah, love it, absolutely love it. But the trout fishing on the rivers, as you know, is not as good as maybe in some areas as the south. So I'd miss the Usk a bit too much, I think, if I'm honest. Yeah. But a friend of mine up there, Brian Jones, he's a guide up there, and he took us to, what's the name? It's an awesome ridge walk just above there. So we like our hiking as well, me and the missus, and we get out in the winter quite a lot. She did a ridge walk with the dog, and
up in North Wales.
Yeah, me and Brian took a bit of a drive to get up there. Something Gwent maybe.
Oh, Gwent.
Yeah. Lovely spot.
There's a lot of lovely lakes up there.
Unbelievable, yeah. Those I get because it's nice and wild. You know, you got to
Yeah.
hike in. I like the adventure about it. You know, but that was glorious. I didn't know I was doing mine. And literally, it was like going back
Yeah.
to like baselining myself. I was like, what do I do with this, Bri? He was like, well,
Yeah.
don't target them because they're going to have gone or moved or
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
patrolling or something. And I saw, I caught one and I was happy. It wasn't big, but I was happy.
I just you don't fish Talabont now, no?
I used to love that water. It can be hard, can't it? It's a
Yeah.
good water.
You got to get to know it, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, I used to fish it for years, one day a year, like, you know, there's all be one of those places,
Yeah.
have a day up there.
Yeah.
You'd have one or two, but then last season, I had a full season there, and I was up there 3-4 nights a week,
Really?
and
yeah,
get to know it then.
Yeah.
And you know, it was weird, right? It was like, as soon as it was getting dark, like you hear the birds now, right? As soon as the birds stop, you see them.
Right.
It's if they time it right, you know. There's a certain moment when the fish start to feed, when the birds stop. And I've done it this year as well at the same time. And they'll come in closer as well, you know.
Right.
And so many people will just 9 o'clock or go home, like, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And that's the time to be there.
You're like,
you know?
no, hold on. Yeah.
So, but unless you get a dirty day, dark clouds, rain, even wind,
Yeah.
you catch them in a day then.
Oh, nice.
But I will. I'll spend more time up there now. Especially, you know, I come back from Ireland. I got the DTs now. I'm trying to start
you want
catching again. You
to
know?
on your next hit now, yeah.
Yeah. But you never got into competition scene as a kid, anything with the lakes?
No. And again, I know a lot of boys who've been in it, friends with them and stuff, but it's not for me. It's never appealed. Like this is what does it for me. Just sat there talking about it sometimes.
Have you got any goals?
Not really. Just continuing. I mean, it's been a good season so far. The last couple of years have been really good. We picked up new waters. It's nice to sort of explore them a bit. I suppose one thing I've neglected from fishing the Usk so much the last few years is the smaller streams that I loved fishing. That's the proper adventure, you know, your knee guards on and stuff, and you're crawling about and stuff, and you'll do quite a few miles in a day.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're mixing hiking with a bit of fishing in as well. All small fish, like, but, you know, beautiful little wildies.
Yeah.
And
Is there anywhere you think on your bucket list I want to fish?
yeah, we joked earlier to me about Montana and New Zealand and stuff. I do a lot of fishing reading and stuff as well. And the Americanized
I noticed you
way
do a lot
of
of
fish,
reading.
yeah,
I see
I
these
love it.
posts, and there's always a little glass of malt or something, and there's a
yeah,
book in front
maybe,
of him, and a cigar. You must have a good collection of books. Like.
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, you look at the John Giracs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And again, it's all about the Americanized way of fishing as well. They're all about adventure, and you know, and if there's a
Yeah.
cabin and the woods involved in the
That's
story,
it.
I'm sold. The British stories, I've never been. They've never connected too well with me then.
Yeah.
Because we've always done it, haven't we? We've got that gentry sort of background and stuff, and I've never got that because maybe it's because I'm a valley boy. I don't know. It's never
I
really.
think a
connected.
place you'd love is Sweden.
Yeah,
I've been there many times.
there's another one on the list. Yeah,
And
that's a good point.
I went to this one place, and talk about remote. We flew into Stockholm, another plane then up to Mora.
Yeah,
We had a car then, forward drive, up to this place called Idre. And they give us a helicopter then, up to the mountains, onto this, like, I'm not sure if it was an island, but there was a boat then, rowing boat, with a row across then into this cabin.
planes, trains, and automobiles.
yeah.
Is it?
And we were there for 3 days. I don't know if you know the guy, Andrew Roynan.
Oh yeah. I do.
Yeah, he joined me for the trip. And his head went. He really panicked with the remoteness.
Right,
Because he said if something happens when you're there,
you're on your own.
you're on your own. No?
Yeah,
We had a guide, obviously we had a guide with us, and he had like a radio phone then, because the mobiles, nothing didn't work
Yeah,
up there,
right.
you know. But I loved it. It's great, like, you know. We had a few fish,
good.
yeah, but there's nothing beats it, is it? It's proper remote.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're like instantly connected to everything these
Yeah.
days. And again, I'm working in IT for so long now. I want to break from all that. You know, just get away as far away from me. And it's hard to do, to be honest, because you're always contactable and stuff. And to be in those environments, I bet that was like you say, if you had lost it a bit, then
I love it. A lot of people use, there's no signal. Sometimes it's nice not to have a signal.
yeah.
Well, I suppose we can talk all night fishing, but we'll have to try and see if we can get into a fish, you know.
We'll see.
And,
Couple of eyes in that.
Yeah, we did see 1 or 2 guys. But before we wrap up, there's one question I want to ask. I have no idea what it's going to be. Where would you want to be to make your last cast?
It might surprise you actually, okay? So yeah, I love the Usk, right? I'll take a bullet to this river. It's beautiful, but I think the one that really got the blood pumping for rivers in the very beginning was actually the very, very top of the Taff Echen. You know, it comes out of Pen y Fan pretty much as a wild stream, then it forms the Naiad that is now kind of sadly gone. And that system there's two, isn't there? And they both meet in Merthyr and form the Taff proper. There's a Taff Fawr, or the big, and then the Taff Echen, the small. And the Taff Echen is again tumbly, broken water. And I think I joked once, I was out with the mate Liam and we fished that one day, and I said, look, you could sprinkle my ashes here, this is the one. And it's a beautiful, beautiful river with Merthyr angling, and they've done a great job bringing that back over the years. And keeping it as a wild brown trout fishery, and it's just superb, spectacular, beautiful. And again, back to what we were saying about remoteness, you do kind of feel up there that you are alone in this, you know, deep valley, you know, and it's, yeah, wonderful, brilliant fishing.
Let's go back where you started.
Yeah, literally, I think so. Yeah.
Well, cheers, Gareth, and let's hope you can get some fish now.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please consider becoming a Patreon, where you will get 2 extra podcasts each month. That's one every week, plus bonus content, photography, and other exclusive content, plus access to over 60 plus episodes. You can join my Patreon channel by visiting patreon.com/Casting with Ceri Jones, or see the links on my website, castingwithcerijones.com. or see my posts on Facebook and Instagram. Well, that's all for now. Tight lines and don't strike too soon.